Hello and welcome to Arnold Chats. In this chat we will discuss consolidation of power and ask, what have we learned from history? Can you remember when our leaders gave themselves emergency powers? Can you remember the media and the leaders telling you that these emergency powers have never been used in peacetime? Well, these emergency powers have been granted before, in peacetime, though not here in the UK. The day after the Reichstag fire on the 27th of February 1933, a state of emergency was announced and Hitler used the fire to persuade Hindenburg to pass an emergency law restricting personal liberty. The decree for the protection of people and state restricted free speech and freedom of press and allowed imprisonment for any or no reason. But Hitler wasn't done there, as his power was not fully consolidated. On the 23rd of March 1933, Hitler managed to implement the Enabling Act. It gave him the right to make laws without the Reichstag approval for 4 years. In short, this removed democracy. Now Hitler's consolidation of power was complete. And we all know how that turned out. The Nazis' consolidation of power can be grouped into 3 main themes: pseudo-legality, terror and intimidation, and pseudo-moderation. 87 years on to the day, the 23rd of March 2020, Boris called a national state of emergency and went one better than Hitler by consolidating his power in one day. However, this is happening the whole world over, and individual leaders of countries seem to be puppets to the Great Reset agenda.
At this moment of national emergency, the government is the biggest threat this country has faced for decades, and this country is not alone. All over the world we're seeing the devastating impact of this invisible killer.
Vicious and responsible vision of how to build Canada back better.
Build it back better. We're going to take an economy that had a lot of problems and we're going to make this economy work better going forward.
And over the next 3 years, there is much work to do. We will build back better from the COVID crisis.
And now is the time for all of us to begin to build back better.
We must not miss this unique window of opportunity.
In full agreement, the puppet opposition of the United Kingdom united behind emergency measures that have taken away citizens' liberties and freedoms. But just a reminder to everyone, we are born with our fundamental freedoms. They were never the government's to take away in the first place. Here is a reminder of what they took, and no doubt will take again in the coming months.
To ensure compliance with the government's instruction to stay at home, we will immediately close all shops selling non-essential goods, including clothing and electronic stores, and other premises, including libraries, playgrounds and outdoor gyms and places of worship. We'll stop all gatherings of more than 2 people in public, excluding people you live with. And we'll stop all social events, including weddings, baptisms and other ceremonies, but gatherings will be dispersed. You should not be meeting family members who do not live in your home.
Hang on a minute, don't take her away. Hey, don't take her away. Don't take her away.
If your friends ask you to meet, you should say no.
Tell me what law I have broken. You cannot tell me any law that I've broken.
When they fast-tracked the modern-day Enabling Act, consolidating all their power in one go, much like Germany in the 1930s, our government had already taken over the media, and any different views are not discussed or even allowed to be addressed.
And as I know from myself at the start of all of this, you are not allowed to question the narrative on such things.
Our fundamental human rights are disappearing daily, and they've turned the police around the world into political enforcers.
If you don't follow the rules, the police will have the powers to enforce them, including through fines and dispersing gatherings.
And they do all this whilst trying to say we live in a democracy. They just extended the emergency powers without a vote, meaning we plebs are open to more tyranny in the coming months. Does this not tell you that these puppets do not give a crap for their constituents' fundamental rights? I know mine don't.
As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. Aye. Could I have the noes again? No. I'm afraid, I fear, the mood of the House is not to have a vote on this. I do understand. I think the Honourable Gentleman would have to rustle up a few more people to really get the sense that we required a vote when we do. I'm sure they will. So I think the ayes have it.
The reset consolidation of power can be grouped into three main themes: pseudo-legality, terror and intimidation, and pseudo-moderation. Hang on a minute, haven't we heard this somewhere before? And if you keep looking, you will find many more examples of similarity between 1930s Germany and today. Like dividing their citizens so they can't see the true nature of things.
I think that if you step back a bit and you think about your elderly relatives you might have, your loved ones in care homes, and the idea that someone wants to look after them and they don't want to take a perfectly safe and effective vaccine that's been approved by our regulators, being used all over the world, because somehow they've got some objection to this vaccine, then really, honestly, they shouldn't be in our care homes. They should go and get another job. I'm very clear on that.
Or much more sinister things.
We're pioneering work on a vaccine. Each and every one of us is now obliged to join together, because that is the way we reduce the number of people.
Now, I'm not saying that our puppet leaders follow the ideologies of past tyrants. They have Klaus Schwab and the Great Reset to follow. But the reset consolidation are using the same old tactics. So back to my original question. Consolidation of power, what have we learnt from history? It seems we have learnt naff all. People are quite happy to appease tyrants in the times of tyranny. Like the German people of the 1930s and later political leaders, citizens today appease these tyrants worldwide by only following and complying with the narrative set out by those who wish to control every part of our existence. Probably the lesson that should have been learnt from the past was, you cannot appease your way out of tyranny. I know there are many appeasers out there, and I can't blame them with the level of menticide being pushed through the world in various forms. Thanks for listening to this chat. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Unless the appeasers of society don't see the bigger picture, we will never go back to normal.
We must not miss this unique window of opportunity. So people assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had, and everything will be normal again in how we are used to normal, in the old fashion. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen.